All right, good morning, people of YouTube. We're back again after quite a long hiatus. You know, buying a house is a lot to deal with. So we successfully did that, and now we are back bringing you some content. So make sure you guys like and subscribe, and we'll go ahead and get into the Beelstar deck that I've been using for EX2 and going into the Bt9 meta. So this deck, the only change that you're really going to do with this deck in BT9 is you're going to add Death Xmon. And I will tell you exactly which two cards to cut from this deck to put those in. You could also run Gazimon X, but since I'm playing the Impmon package, there's not room for that. And I think that the Impmon package gives you better mill than the Gazimon does. So we'll go ahead and get right into the deck profile. So for the eggs, we got 4 copies of Pagu and 1 Demimera. Pagu gives you your trash 2 from top of deck, which is what you want to be doing. If you open decent, you get an Impmon and a Tamer, your turn 2, you're going to be milling 6 cards minimum, 1 off the Tamer, 2 off Pagu, and 3 off of Imp. So that's kind of insane. And then I think Demimera is still the best 5th egg that we have, even going into BT9. The Pagumon that we get in BT9 just isn't really that good. And Demimera is, so that's what we're doing for the egg lineup. So the boss of the show is for Beelstar. So keep that in mind going forward with the deck. I'm just going to put the 4 on the table here. So we'll go ahead and get right into the rookie lineup. So the goal is to mill as many cards as you can, to facilitate really, really big Beelstar plays in the mid to late game. Sometimes even in the early game, depending on how fast you can mill. And so going with the rookies, we got 4 copies of the BT2 Impmon. This is one of the main ones you want to be opening because it gets you really good mills off your Pagu. And it's just a great card. It puts a lot of cards in trash. Next, we got 4 copies of the EX2 Impmon. I'm not going to lie, I pretty much never use the on-play for this card. This card has a really good inheritable, but it also just mills 3 whenever you mill it. And that is the main reason we're playing this card. So what we want to be doing is we want to be milling ourselves as fast as possible, so whenever we hit this card, we just get more mills. For the last Impmon in the list, I'm playing 2 copies of the BT6 Impmon. This card is pretty good in the mid game. You can dump cards in your hand that aren't really doing you anything, or dump like 7 cost options to grab Beelstar back, and that's mostly what this card is for. This card is pretty much exclusively grabbing Beelstar, or it's grabbing the BT2 Beelzemon if you have the Iron Mako and the Blast Mode set up, which isn't unlikely. So for the rest of the rookies, I have 2 copies of the BT2 Gabu. This card also helps you just put a bunch of cards in trash, just like these Impmon here. And so we only had room for 2, so 2 is all we're playing. The last rookie that we're playing is the single copy of Gazi. I feel like you need to play at least one of this card. You're going to mill it, which is great, because you're going to be bringing this card back off of Nailbone to be shutting out their memory boost. So, yeah, that's it for the rookie lineup. I'm playing for 8, 10, 13. I feel like that's pretty good. We got a bunch of really good starters in this list because we have cards like Darkness Wave, the Tamers, and a bunch of other good cards as well. So we'll go ahead and get into the level 4s next. I got 4 copies of Dobermon. This card came out in EX2, and it is absolutely cracked. So if you don't open the BT2 Impmon, this is the next best card to open. Or if you open the BT2 Gabumon, this is arguably a better card to open, because you can just build this up in your raising area, and this card just not only does it facilitate your mill, but it also just grabs back cards that you would want from your trash. And if there's nothing else that you want, typically you can just grab you can just grab this Dobermon right back, and then get more mills off of it. So Dobermon is absolutely insane, just doubling down on the milling. It's got basically the exact same effect as the BT2 Impmon, which is really, really good. And then for the rest of the level 4s, I got one Ginkaku Promote to give us our Rush off of our Nailbone. I got one Vilemon as the blocker that we bring back off of our Nailbone. And then I wanted one more level 4. So the best card to help give us cards in our trash and cards in our hand is Eismon Scatter Mode. You could try to find room for more copies of this card. I'm electing not to. The last Digimon before we get into the level 6s, I do play a single level 5. I play one copy of the EX1 Lady Devimon. So what this card does is when you Digivolve into it, you get to mill the top 3 cards of your deck, which is really nice. It has an inheritable effect that doesn't really matter that much, but if you play a Digimon from your trash, you gain a memory. This can happen quite a lot off of the Beelzemon mill or off of Nailbone. But mostly it's in here to give you value when you Digivolve, to just get more milling, and to bridge up into the EX2 Beelzemon if you need to Digivolve into that card. You very rarely will, but we do play one copy of this card in the list so that we can grab it back off of Calling from the Darkness if that play ever does come up. But if that play doesn't come up, this is just a free Digivolve, get your draw, get some mills, and yeah, puts more cards in the trash. It's not bad. So going on to the level 6s, I got one copy of the BT2 Beelzemon. This is most of the time how we are hitting Blast Mode. It's very, very easy to get just a bunch of cards in your trash and then get an Impmon in play and then just warp into this and, pop off from there. So I do like the single copy of it. It's fetchable with the BT6 Impmon as well as Calling from the Darkness, so you always have access to it when you need it. Moving right along, I got 4 copies of the EX2 Beelzemon. The main reason this card is in this list is because if you mill it, you get to pull back an Impmon from your trash. We are playing a lot of Impmon, and all of them are super important. This card doesn't negate the on-play effects either. So if you... a very common thing that happens is you hit this card off of like the BT2 Impmon or the EX2 Impmon, and then you can pull back something like the BT6 Impmon, discard a Beelzemon that's clumping in your hand, or a 7-cost option, and grab a Beelstar back. Whenever you mill this card, basically, you are getting a Beelstar in hand because of the BT6 Impmon. So this is a great card to mill, and if you don't have the BT6 Impmon set up, or you're still early game and you mill this, then you pull back a BT2 Impmon, and then you just keep swinging and keep milling more cards. So I do like this card at 4. However, making room for Death Xmon, if you want to keep playing the Beelzemon package in this list to get that extra mill and to get the Impmon recursion, you could cut just one copy of this Beelzemon. It lessens your likelihood that you do mill it to get the Impmon recursion, but Death Xmon is just such a powerful Digimon that it is worth including, and this deck can function perfectly fine with just 3 copies of this Beelzemon. But yeah, that's it for the level 6s. The last Digimon on the list, as I'm playing a single copy of Blast Mode. I would have played 2 if I owned 2, but I've been testing it at 1, and I really like it. This deck can clump a little bit because you're playing so many level 6s, you're playing level 5. You can just get inoptimal draws, just like any purple deck can. So playing only 1 Blast Mode helps mitigate that a little bit. And if you see it in your hand, you can discard it off of something like Scatter Mode, off of the Gabumon, or any of your other effects, like this Impmon as well. But this card is just really, really powerful. We are playing the Eye and Mako so that we can warp the Beelzemon into the Blast Mode, which is super nice. Basically, all you have to do is get this card in trash, and it's always live. Plus, if you mill it, you do get to pop a level 4, which can be good. It's not really going to be super important going into the Bt9 meta because we are playing just a raising area meta. So this has a less likelihood of going off this coming format as it did EX2. However, the Blast Mode is still just really powerful. You can end games that are taking too long just by warping into this card and just clearing their entire stack. So the tamer that we are electing to play, I am playing 3 copies of Eye and Mako. This card does give us our mill whenever we swing with just any Digimon, which is just super nice. You can just tap Iron Mako and get an extra mill. It's a memory tamer, which this deck really wants to function at 3. And it does also give you the play where, if you have the blast mode in trash, you can just warp into it, which is super nice. Iron Mako is a really good card, and you want to see it as early as possible. So going into the 7-cost options, I play 4 copies of Fly Bullet. This card's going to be really, really good in Bt9 because we are playing an OTK meta where everybody wants to win with 1 stack. If Grandiskuwagamon hits Fly Bullet, it is very, very sad. Same with Trump Sword. We have a lot of restanding in this format. Things like Garurumon X, all those cards. Alphamon or Ryukin. We have Trump Sword, and Trump Sword is fun. I do really like this card. It's extra Fly Bullets. Obviously, if we were playing the Blue Tamers, this would be Casitas Breath. However, we don't have room for the Blue Tamers because we are playing the Impmon package. So, Trump Sword it is. We got 2 copies of Nailbone. Nailbone is broken. Never leave home without it. We got 2 copies of Happy Bullet Showering. Extra removal is good. I got 1 copy of Gewalt Schwarmer. This card comes in clutch. Even in this format where there's not a lot of things that are just lingering on field, the times that you do need it, you'll be very thankful that you have it. And then going into the rest of the cards in the deck, I do play 1 copy of Mist Memory Boost. This card is also very cuttable for Death Xmon. So if you don't want to cut a Beelzemon and you just want to play 1 Death Xmon, Mist Memory Boost is probably the cut. But if you want to play 2 Death Xmon, I would cut 1 of the EX2 Beelzemon in this Mist Memory Boost. But this card is also cuttable for a 2nd copy or for a 3rd copy of Darkness Wave if you don't want to. I do like the 1 memory boosts. I really like memory boosts. I like the ability to pop off just whenever I want. So I wanted to include at least 1. But realistically, I think Darkness Wave is a better card, and I think the Mist Memory Boost should just be a 3rd copy of Darkness Wave. Because Darkness Wave is just cracked. This is just a really good card to open with on your starting play. If you can get an Impmon on top of a Pagumon, and then you open the Darkness Wave, you're starting the game with like 12 plus cards in trash, and that's kind of crazy. So the last 2 slots in the deck are 2 copies of Calling from Darkness. Realistically, I think this card should go to 1. This card is absolutely broken. But even at 1, you can fetch it back with cards like the BT2 Matashita, so I don't know if it going to 1 would even solve anything. But Calling from Darkness is absolutely mandatory in this list, or any purple list for that matter. Being able to fetch back whatever you want is kind of nice. But, yeah, this is the list. This is the full picture. I see a lot of people playing the Beelzemon as a tower deck, just like as its sole focused as just to build up into Beelzemon, mill yourself a bunch, and then try to go into a blast mode to secure out the game. And I guess that is nice. That is just not the way I like to play this archetype. I like the turbo milling aspect that 3 Musketeers had, and I think the Beelzemon engine can just kind of add to that. This deck has been testing really, really well. Haven't taken it to any, major events, but in the practice games that I've had, it's been a lot of fun, and I highly recommend you guys give this a shot. So, that's all I gotta say. See you guys next time. Bye, everyone.